Good morning once again, and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. Feel free to give us a call at 612-504-8400. Visit us online, havenfinancialgroup.com. All kinds of retirement tools, our calendar of educational events in the community setting, and then, of course, our education center on site at our office. Kim, some ones I want to highlight here in the next upcoming weeks is, Medicare Made Simple on Tuesday, the 28th, here at our education center. May 29th, how to protect your property from probate. Doing that with our Carrie Renner, our estate planning partners, also at the education center. May 19th, advanced RMD planning for those of you that are 73 or 75, respectively. All of these classes are online. We're very big into education. There are no strings attached. You'd be surprised what you can learn. We've had fraud prevention classes, and then, of course, college classes, a variety of all on our website. I encourage, it's how we learn. And if you're just getting started, if you're listening and you're younger, older, in retirement, or maybe just starting the process, a class is a great way to begin the conversation.
Yes, it's havenfinancialgroup.com. Take a peek at those classes. As Larry mentioned, they are free, and they are for individuals who are not necessarily customers. Maybe you're a client, maybe you're just listening in today and we're striking something with you and you'd like to check it out. Be sure that you go to the website, and they do ask that you sign up because these classes do fill very quickly. We're talking about college tuition and expense planning. This is a very daunting task for a lot of families. And today we're talking about some of the strategies that you could possibly use, and the folks there at Haven Financial Group suggest to save and to prepare for your kids going off to college. We want to talk, and I asked Larry briefly in the last segment, and he was mentioning what a 529 is, because this is a strategy that I think a lot of people use, or a lot of people have heard of in the past. So Larry, let's talk a little bit about 529s. It's a way to save for college, but there's a whole lot more that you can do with a 529. It's a little more flexible than people may think.
Yeah, before I dive into the 529, kind of a takeaway from the last segment is, paying for college today takes more than just saving. It takes a strategy, as I mentioned. With costs rising and the stakes higher than ever, every dollar does count. A smart plan can help you avoid, which is concerning to me, overwhelming debt. Make the most of your financial aid. Financial aid, it's out there. My wife cringes every time she has to look at the FAFSA stuff because it is overwhelming. But all this planning helps you ensure your investment strategy is going to pay off. There's a lot of variables. That's why we recommend an expert, some sort of guidance. And at Haven Financial Group, that's the kind of guidance we can give in a variety of these areas, all these different retirement topics. So leading into this, they mentioned the 529. It's very popular for college saving. It is more flexible than people make it out to be, but there are rules. And we're going to touch on some of the key rules and the limitations with 529s. But it isn't only used to be for tuition. Mm-hmm. It can be room and board, books, laptops. Like I said, it could be internet access. A whole variety of qualified educational type of expenses can fall and be used with this 529.
When you start sending your kids to school, as you mentioned in the last block, you start realizing that tuition is not the biggest chunk in a lot of cases. It's all the rest of it. If you're sending your children, especially if you're sending your children away, it's important with a 529 though to kind of get started early, right? That's the whole idea.
Well, of course, a financial advisor or a firm is going to tell you, oh, you better get started early. Well, it is good advice, okay? Well, if you're listening today and you're on the younger side and you have little ones, now's a good time to get started. I mean, granted, it's hard to spread the money out, okay? It is. Maybe if you're listening and you have grandkids, you start early. The power of compounding, need I say more? Compounding returns, if they're 2 or 3 years old, they got a whole bunch of time where it can compound and really, truly grow. So again, get started early, start with a little, increase it. But again, I already touched on know what it covers, so kind of know the rules. And there's other things that go with that too. If you don't use it, you don't lose it. So there is flexibility in there. In fact, many people don't know It can be used to pay back student loans. Again, you can pay up to $10,000 per beneficiary for those student loans. If you don't use it, you could actually switch beneficiaries. Many people don't know that. Unused funds, maybe Johnny doesn't decide to go to college.
Right.
It can be transferred to a different family member without penalty as long it's for those qualified expenses. So we have to play by the rules, otherwise that could backfire.
Yeah, and again, just reminding people those qualified, some of them are room and board and books, laptops, internet access, that kind of thing. And again, then paying back loans if in fact you need some of those dollars for that. There's no penalty, you say, if you switch your beneficiary, which is something that I think people really need to know. Can you roll it over to a Roth IRA?
Yes, that's a great thing to do if you don't, because we like to have as much in Roth as possible. Now, a couple of rules that go with that. There's a lifetime limit. Each beneficiary has a $35,000 lifetime, not all in 1 year. It's a lifetime benefit. There's an annual contribution limit. Of course there is. For 2026, it's 7,500 for age 50 and below, and a catch up for those above 50 of 8,600. There's income requirements. The only way you can do this is the beneficiary must have earned income at least equal to the rollover amount. Otherwise, can't do it. Age requirement. The accounts have to be open for at least 15 years and it been at least money in the account for 5 years to qualify for this rollover. And last but not least, it needs to be phased. Again, it can't be all done at one time. And the annual limit is $35,000. So again, when the IRS sets out all these guidelines, there's rules and regulations. And if you don't follow them, you're at your own risk of getting penalties, and penalties we do not want.
Absolutely. And states have different rules associated with this, right? So
Well,
what's Minnesota like? Are there any credits? Can you get tax
yeah,
credits?
there
Can you get
there
anything
is
like that? Yeah.
there is tax credits in most states, just
Mhm.
not all states. And I encourage folks, keep receipts. If you become under some sort of IRS scrutiny, you're going to need to show receipts. So yes, that's not fun. How many receipts? But keep them, because you're going to have to confirm and validate that it was legitimate.
Mhm. So if someone wants to start 529, how do they get started, Larry? What do they do?
Well, we lead them to, there's actually Minnesota 529
Okay.
accounts, or we can open up these accounts at Fidelity Investments, the investment team, Charles Schwab, et cetera. So we'll assist them. We can set up contribution guidelines. As do they want it monthly? How much?
Mhm.
Um, and it can be invested just like any of your other investments
Mhm.
to whatever degree of risk. Of course, if this is a longer timeline, those kids obviously are younger. There's going to probably recommended more risk in the portfolio because of the element of time, higher returns. If they're going to be using it in the relatively short term, then we're going to want to evaluate, okay, they need it in 2 years. We probably don't want to risk all of it as much. So it's kind of the same guidelines as for those that are, longer ways from retirement to those that are in retirement. So we encourage having a conversation. What does this mean for you? How does it fit into your overall planning process for retirement? And at the end of the day, is it appropriate or not?
Mhm.
And keep in mind, not everybody does go to school. You
Right.
know, I know there's a lot of trades type of jobs. There's a shortage on tradesmen. I've seen some younger kids get through the tradesman school, make really good money, and have near the student debt that others. So again, explore all options.
Can 529s be used at this stage of the game for trade schools?
Yeah, education.
As long as
Absolutely.
it's education like that, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Are there minimums or maximum amounts that you can contribute to the 529 in a year?
Yes, 7,500 for 50 and
Okay.
below, and 8,600 for those over 50.
Okay, absolutely. All right. So if folks are listening and they have some interest, they've got little ones or maybe little ones on the way, or like you said, grandparents who maybe want to set up some kind of fund to help their grandchildren go to college in the future, they can give you guys a call, right, Larry?
Yeah, with smart planning, a 529 can be more than just a college fund. It can be a powerful, flexible financial educational tool. Let us help make the most of it. Build a strategy that fits your family's goals. If you have a plan, maybe get it reviewed. If you don't know if you have a plan, you probably don't. And now's a good time to get started. Maybe this educational student loan thing that we're talking about, maybe that isn't for you, but maybe you're just thinking about retirement in general, personally. Come on in and visit with us. We're going to walk through the same process. And at the end of the day, if nothing else, you learned something. The time was worth it because there is no cost for any of our consultations. And obviously, we're able to help lots of people. And ultimately, our goal is to cultivate long term relationships, not only necessarily for you, but your kids and, God willing, your grandkids too.
Absolutely. 612-504-8400. Take that number down. That's how you reach the folks at Haven Financial Group. Let me give it to you again a little more slowly. It's 612-504-8400. And a quick reminder, havenfinancialgroup.com. That's where you learn about those educational seminars and you sign up. We're talking about college and saving for college. And when we come back, universal life insurance. Have you ever thought about that? When you say life insurance, you don't automatically think of it being a vehicle for college savings. But believe it or not, it can be. And we're going to talk about that on the other side of the break. This is the Haven Financial Group Radio Show.